Hey guys, Mauro here. Another session of rapid fire. This one is gonna be pretty much all based on volleys. It's gonna be really good. I have some tips that can really help you. A couple of tips from Federer and what he did to his volley, to his game to improve when he started working with Edberg. So you wanna hang around. It's pretty interesting, and well, don't go away. All right, guys, let's move on to tip number one. We're gonna go through the volley today. Okay, I have a couple of Federer improvements, things that he worked on his volley with Stefan Edberg. Okay, all right. When Federer started working with Edberg, his volley was a little more, especially on both sides. But I was especially on the forehand, which happens a lot with most players. They were he was volleying a little more with the chest straight, more open, let's say, and the same on the backhand. That was probably a little more noticeable on the backhand. One thing that Edberg started working with him was on moving towards that ball, and contrary to what a lot of pros out there teach, that they say you don't need to turn the forehand, you just move, through the ball like that. You always want to turn a little bit first. You want to pay attention. If you don't turn, it's a little more difficult to really see the ball better, to see the ball well here. And the second one, if you always want to volley, and I teach a Spider-Man volley where you want to go a little bit with the wrist in the front. So what happens is if you just move forward with your stance open, the chest and the racket move open. So what happens is, see, it's a little more difficult to see the ball, and the racket is usually more like that. Head of the racket and the grip of the racket align when you want to go more like this. So one thing that Edberg worked on Federer was on the forehand, try to turn a little more. It's kind of like the chest moving, kind of pointing towards the ball. You don't have to turn that much, but it's definitely easier to be in this position. It's easier to do whatever. If you want to go for the drop shot, if you want to go through the ball, you want to go harder, you want to put a little more underspin, or you want to go more for finesse, it's definitely better here. On the backhand is where it can dramatically improve your volley, guys. If you're moving, if you just kind of turning enough and going, what's going to happen is that your volley is usually more, going forward, going more that way. So you don't really slice too much. You get to slice, but you finish more to the front, kind of like the old volley, and you don't turn that much. And it's not gonna create that kind of underspin that you can do when you turn a little more. One thing that you notice on most players today, and that's one thing that Edberg worked on with Federer, was that he turns, you completely turning, and you just kind of feel like it's like turning, guys, here, and you don't bring the racket back. You just turn and you go boom. It's like just going kind of that way. It's kind of side spin. Especially that's when the ball comes fast at you. See, you just blocking, and you just do that. That's what's gonna give you that underspin that makes that the ball bounces and it stays super low, doesn't pick up. When the ball is a little higher, well, that's when you extend more. You still turn, but you just go a little more through the ball, and you finish high here with the tray. Same thing. Even on the low ones, you don't want to finish too low. You're gonna slice it, and you finish here. You don't want to let that racket go down. So the low ones, you go more side spin, and the high one, it's a little more through the ball to slice. But definitely when you're turning, it's easier to make that volley. Especially what turning makes, guys, in a few words, is that it gives you the tool. It adds a tool to do a lot of different spins to the ball. Okay, you can put more side spin. It allows you to go harder as well. So the position, it just helps you do more stuff to it. All right, tip number two that Edberg helped Federer with was Federer used to volley very upright, getting to the net. Let's say not very upright, but I say more upright than the players in the 80s. Players in the 80s, if you see videos of, especially Pat Cash, you see Rafter, Becker did it too, but I think it's more noticeable on Pat Cash and Patrick Rafter. Those guys, they get really low here. And Federer was a little more, a little more upright there. So what Edberg did is like, okay, you want to open more, a little more, let's say a little more, probably like shoulder width, your feet, and you want to stay low there. It's easier, it's much easier to volley a shot that comes at this height. It's super easy to volley there if you're in this position. Then if I'm more like this and I reach down there in that position, see, or even if I'm a little lower. But that's one thing that you want to pay attention to. As soon as you cross, or I would say as soon as you're getting closer, I would say a couple of steps away from the service line, you're gonna move forward and you get into the service line and then you start getting low. See, you really want to start getting low and keeping the back straight. Don't bend over, because then you're gonna start shoveling those shots. But that's a very important tip that you want to pay attention, guys. Open your compass a little more and it's gonna be easier for you. Keep the back straight and it's gonna be much better and easier for you to volley those, especially the low balls. Okay, tip number 3. Learn not only to slice but to create underspin. That's one thing that I just talked about on tip number 1. You don't want to just volley, boom, slice. Turn a little more so you can go, boom, for the underspin as well. You can go for that kind of, it's an underspin slash side spin, because that ball, not only the contact that you make with the ball is not completely to the side like a side spin, and it's not completely forward like an underspin. That ball is kind of comes like this way. So you're putting underspin and side spin to that ball. So that ball is not only doesn't pick up, guys, but it goes sideways. See, that ball is moving. It's not a ball that goes straight and stays low. No, it stays low and is moving. Of course. And another thing is that is gonna, when you learn to do that, you turn and you learn to do the more underspin or side spin here instead of being so open. This is gonna make much easier for you to hit the volleys the drop shots as well. Ball is coming, show the racket, and then you kind of wanna feel. See, you show the racket here standing, and then you wanna feel it's more like a caressing of the ball here and here instead of hitting that ball. Of course, that's when the ball doesn't come that fast, and that can help you for the volley or boom. If you stop it there and the racket pointing up, that's for the drop shot. It takes practice, but if you start practicing, believe me, you're gonna notice right away. It's magic the stuff that you can do when you start working more with that kind of in from the outside, more side spin on your volley. Okay, 4, volley more with the legs, don't swing with the arms. I see that a lot. People that move to the net, see, they volley too much with the arms, and the head of the racket finishes here sometimes, like that. Never, guys, never. You never want to see your racket finishing with the tip of the racket in the front, the head of the racket, here or here. If it's a ball, a high one, of course, with a regular volley, you never want to see it like that, guys. You gotta feel more, instead of swinging, you gotta feel more like you're moving more towards the ball. So that way you don't have to swing, and the moment you start paying more attention to your legs, stay low, boom, moving towards the ball. Here, the moment you start doing that, you start hitting cleaner. You don't miss hit as much, Of course, you want to keep your head steady, but you gotta feel like you get low, and you gotta feel whenever you have time, you move more towards that ball or through the ball with your legs. Don't swing with the arm. You really want to pay attention to that. Okay, freeze your head and arm. Freeze your head and freeze your head and the racket head at contact. Meaning, ball is coming, I'm gonna swing it. I'm not swinging, but I'm gonna volley, and I don't wanna volley, boom, and finish too long after volley. That's a very common thing here too. Boom, going too long. No, try to volley, and unless it's a ball that is floating there that you can swing it hard, you know, go a little longer. But the idea, usually, I would say those are the only shots that you're gonna swing. The easy cheating ones. But we don't get a lot of those. Probably 95% or more in a match. They're gonna be shots that come with some speed and lower. So what you have to remember two things. This tip is really good, guys. This is I have to say this is a tip that more I have been told for a lot of people that you say, you know what, that's one tip that you gave me that really helped me with the volley. Freeze at contact. Freeze the head of the racket at contact. Boom. Freeze it there. Ball coming. Boom. Freeze it at contact. You go short, you make contact. Of course your racket is not going to stop right there at contact. It's just going to go a little longer. But just long enough. That's perfect. That's just long enough that you want to go. Here. Boom. And you stop it there. See? You don't want to go long. And the second one, so you want to think, freeze the racket or the head of the racket here, and freeze your head as well. You want to be able, you're looking at the ball, and instead of volleying and following, which is the reason why a lot of people mishit, you want to freeze your head at the moment you make contact, ball coming, you follow, boom. And I end up looking at the background just for a split second, then I look away. That's what's going to help you. That's what's going to help you hit the ball clean. That's going to, and guys, you should do that in every stroke, in the serve, in the backhand, in the forehand. Freeze your head. Every shot, you should freeze your head, like saying, I don't care where the ball goes. All I care is I want to hit the ball clean with the strings. So you hit the ball and you end up looking at the background. Then you look at the ball. That's something that Federer does. Not a lot of players do it in the tour. I don't think there is any other player that does it as obvious as as he does. But that's something that helps a lot. Okay, guys. Let's see. Give me a second here. Okay, volley mindset. Absorb pace to control placement and depth. Don't swing. In the volley, you have to think. When you're volleying, you have to think. This is something that is going to challenge a lot of you out there, because a lot of people are used to go to the volley. They want to go like super aggressive. When you volley, you have to think. Absorb the speed. Don't add. In a few words, use your opponent's speed. Use your opponent's power on the ball. You don't need to put more. If you try this, experiment this. Stand in the middle. We'll just go and stand one time between the service line and the net. Right in the middle of the service line and the net. Stay there and tell one of your friends. Okay, feed me a ball at 3/4 speed. At not even 3/4 speed, just half a speed. And you volley that ball, just put the racket there, right here, boom. And you just block it. Look at the speed that ball gets when you just block the ball. It's a lot, guys. When we just block, I would say that when you just block the ball, we're probably absorbing, you can probably take 30% of the speed of the ball if you just touch it. If you go real smooth with the hand on the grip, you can absorb more. But usually I would say that ball is gonna go back 70%, just touching it. So just a little bit that you add, that you swing that ball, is gonna go back it goes back super fast. You don't need to put any more power on the shots. Most of the times when we're at the net, the other guy is gonna hit at least at 80% of the speed. And if they hit, even if they just hit at 50 or 60% speed, if you just barely put the racket there, that it's very easy to mishit it. So that's one thing that you really want to pay attention, guys. You don't want to mishit. You want to have the mentality, okay, I gotta absorb that pace. Absorb the pace and think more on the placement and the depth, not the power. Power is the last thing you should have in mind in your volley. Is the placement and depth. I would say depth is the number one. If they say, okay, one of the two, you're gonna play a match, you're not gonna have any placement on your volleys, you know, either you're not gonna have any placement or any depth. Which one you choose? You wanna have placement or depth? I will go for depth all the time. You know, placement is gonna help you, but the truth is that you don't even need to work that hard to win the volleys, guys. If you just go deep, the other guys, they're gonna miss. They're gonna kill themselves trying to pass you when you're volleying close to the service line. All right. Okay, and the last tip on the volley, guys, just one more. Volley, try to volley feeling more like that you're going with your lower edge a little bit in the front. Don't let it go straight like this. A little bit more on the edge, on the front, same on the forehand. See? The edge in the front, when you're really having a bad day volleying, especially on the low ones, that you're mishitting or for some reason you're just missing, the one thing that can help you a lot that you want to try is, okay, start moving more instead of so much like that. When you're moving forward, face the racket on this position. Okay, start a little more this position. Try to bring that wrist to the front or on the backhand. So the edge goes more, you move more in this position. When you go to the edge in the front, it helps you hit the ball much more solid, and especially this thing. You go with the edge and you want to keep this angle all the way until you're done. Don't let it drop, don't let it straighten like that, the wrist. No. Volley, boom. Keep the angle with the racket, like thinking, this is not gonna change. Backhand, same. Boom. I can finish pointing down or I can go forward, but I wanna keep that angle, guys. Arm relax, boom, and go. Arm relax, and go. Keep that angle with the racket and the arm, and go more with the edge, and that's gonna give you a lot more solid contact with the shots. When we open the racket more, we're more prone to mishit. This is something that if you have been following me, this is something I talk a lot about in my videos. When the racket moves towards the ball in this position, we're more prone to mishit. When the racket is lagging a little bit, it's much more easier. So you want to pay attention to that edge in the front and keep that angle with the racket and the arm. You can work with the shoulder, but don't let the wrist straighten up and do crazy stuff with the head of the racket. All right? Okay, guys. Well, I'm sorry I went a little bit too long, but this is something that I was really excited to let you know. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear if it's something that, you know, if you try it and it helps. You know, I'm open. Give me any suggestions, any questions, anything that you need. Let me know. Give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and well, go out there, stay centered, be bold, and be perseverant. I'll see you next time.